This is the Reds POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Cincinnati Reds. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good afternoon, Reds fans, and welcome to another edition of the POSTCAST brought to you by Locked On Reds and the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network in America. I am Tim Daniel. I'm in my second season here at Locked On. I want to thank you for spending some time with us today as we discuss the Cincinnati Reds taking a loss to the Tampa Bay Rays by a final score of 6-1. On today's show, we're going to discuss that Nick Martinez took full advantage of playing his former team today and got the best of the Reds and then some. We'll talk about Brandon Williamson's struggles and this on and off issue we're having with him where he was good one day, the bad the next, and we're going to discuss that. And we're going to end on a positive because the Reds infield defense today was pretty solid. That's about all we can say about solid today. All that and a whole lot more. Let's get started.
This is what you'll be talking about.
So the Reds faced Nick Martinez today. An old friend dominated the Reds. He did have some help, some excellent defense today, but he got everything he wanted. 8 innings of 1 run, 5 hits, 6 strikeout ball today. Only had 1 walk and was awesome. He now brought his ERA down to a 2.10, gets his first one as a Tampa Bay Ray. And everything we used to talk about last year with how good he was, he did today. And it was really fun to watch him kind of, not necessarily against your team, but when he's on against your team, yes, but when he's on your team, seeing him pitch the way he pitches is obviously a lot of fun to watch. It's not so fun when you're on the opposite end of it. And today, the Reds were definitely on the other end of it. It was a really struggling day as the Reds end up with only 5 hits today. Friedel had a hit, McLain, Sal Stewart had a hit. Lowe and Steer were the only ones who got hits today. So there's that part of it. There's also the part that we kind of talk about a bit. These during the week getaway days feels like, all of us on Friday, once the clock hits noon and we're ready to be done with work, is what the Reds feel like on these getaway days. You're kind of just seeing the offense kind of goes non-existent. I know a lot of people come and they want to do the thing where they say like, well, if you save some runs from yesterday, I think that's a dumb thing. You can't tell a team to turn off their offense, especially in baseball. Anything can happen. But to see them kind of just struggle today against an old pal like that, on top of it being getaway day, it's a trend we're seeing a lot of, and it's a trend that we're kind of seeing them just go through on and off again. And that stinks. But the chat's saying right now, they did have 3 pretty hard hit balls today. Sal Stewart, everyone thought hit a homer. You heard that from Jeff Brantley. You heard that from Terry Francona. Sal Stewart probably would think the same thing. That gets caught at the wall. And then TJ Friedel has a hard hit ball that gets caught at the wall. And then I can't remember who it's the one left field that Chandler Simpson came down with. But we've seen, you have really good outfield defense and outfielders who have range. You get days like that, and you get days where they kind of pull those together. And it's been really tough to be on the opposite end of that, but that's also a good baseball team over there. I think we need to go ahead and make sure and mention that. I know the Reds took 2 or 3 from them, but that's more an accomplishment for the Reds than it is, I can't believe they lost to the Rays today by any stretch of the matter thing. They were first place in the American League East when the Reds went to Tampa earlier in the week. Now they're a game behind the Yankees after the Reds took 2 out of 3 from them. You roll with the punches. And like Jake says here, you're on to the Tigers now. You've got to feel pretty good about the fact you're not going to see the Tigers' 2 best pitchers as Casey Mize pitches today, and they have a game tomorrow, and Terry Skubal is pitching then. So come Friday, you're not going to have to worry about seeing those 2 guys over the weekend set. So yeah, bummer of a game for the Reds. They weren't very good today. 5-1 road trip. I'm not going to sit there and just dwell too much on what they could have done today. I will dive into Brandon Williamson because that's a little bit more on the concerning end to me than getting beat by a guy who was at his best today. Brandon Williamson was not at his best. Couldn't get through the 5th inning, goes 4 1/3, 5-run run, 7 hits, 3 walks, and does give up a pretty deep solo home run to Junior Caminero. And so that's the part that's kind of tough. It seems like with Williamson, and obviously we're going to do the conversation we had and eventually we can't lean back on that, of obviously still getting back into form from being back in the big leagues. We're at the end of April now. He's had about 5 or 6 starts. It's time to kind of not think about that anymore. And at some point he's got to put it together and be consistent. And I think that's the thing that, in Minnesota, he was good. He had a couple walks, yeah, but got through it. And then you look at the Angels game, couldn't get through the couldn't get out of the fourth inning. And so we're kind of seeing this kind of be the thing for him now, where it's like every other game, he looks really good or looks really bad. So Pirates game looks bad. Marlins looks good. Angels looks bad. Twins look good. Rays looks bad. So we got to kind of see him kind of get consistent there again. And the other thing too is, how much more can you roll him out there? And once Nick Lodolo gets back, I have to think he's the guy that goes away, because Louder and Burns certainly have earned the right to stay with the team, and they will be with the team. So I feel like this is going to be a day where the Reds kind of try to see what they can get more out of him. They probably get another 1 to 2 starts out of him before Lodolo's back. And then we kind of see where things go from there. But just a disappointing day for him. I thought Connor Phillips did okay, kind of patching those 2 innings together. Tony Santillan finishes an inning, and then Brock Burke continues to be really good as well. So those are the days you roll with. It's part of baseball. And then, like I said, we know these getaway days for the Reds have not always been very fun to see. So now we turn towards coming home. We got the Tigers coming in town, who are also a really good team. So we're going to see the Reds play them and see how they match up in that series. And then they end the 8-month at home as well against the Colorado Rockies, who have probably played better than a lot of people thought they would, and they're still 6 games under 500. So it's a decent homestand. You get to see one good team and the Rockies in that series and see how that rolls out. But I'm excited to see how things go, and we'll see how things roll from there. But hey, it wasn't all bad today. And I know this is totally reaching, because when you have a 1-run game like this, there's not a whole lot to discuss, but the Reds infield defense was pretty good today. And they turned a few double plays. So I want to kind of get to that a little bit as well. And we'll talk about that and more right after this. The NBA playoffs are here, where every possession matters, every matchup is magnified, and every game can swing a series. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a great way to get in on the action. You can bet just $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. The app makes it easy to follow the action with player stats, trends, and matchups all in one place. And during the playoffs, that extra insight really matters when you're looking at stars, role players, and key moments. It just makes the playoff experience more engaging from start to finish. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel, play your game. Want to give a quick shout out to our everydayers here on the Postcast. Thank you so much for spending time with us in the good and the bad, as the Reds are unfortunately losers today to the brutal game against the Tampa Bay Rays. So this is what we're kind of going through now. But hey, we have the Everydayers Club. Please be sure to join us. It's $5 a month or $50 a year. You get ad-free Discord. You get our ad-free episodes. You get the Discord chat. It's a lot of fun. We're in there talking ball every day with all of you. Do we have a locked on player of the game? I guess we can go.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I'll give a shout out to Connor Phillips today. It's another reach, but you did give up a run, but he managed to kind of keep things together and keep the Reds from having to use more arms than they needed to. So that's where we're at right now. But hey, let's talk about infield defense today. Something I didn't think I'd be having deep conversations on by any means, but today the Reds infield defense gave them as good of a chance as they possibly could if the offense could have just shown up. The Reds had 3 double plays today, and they all went Elly, McLain, Stewart. This has kind of been that conversation we've been having throughout the season of the is Ke'Bryan Hayes worth it thing? Because there's a ball that gets right by Suarez earlier in the game that goes to the outfield on a ground ball, and you probably think realistically that Hayes gets that ball. I'm not going to say that he should have played today by any means or anything. I know he had a really good game yesterday. We made Steve come on here and give away the player of the game, but I thought the infield defense today was fun, and they've been really good all year so far. We've seen them really kind of take a step forward, especially Elly being healthy has been so good at shortstop. McLain, for the ups and downs we've gotten with the bat, has still been really solid defensively. And Sal Stewart, I thought, has played a fine first base when he's been out there. Third base, when Hayes is out there, great. When Suarez is out there, good. I think we can live with all that. So just wasn't their day today. Tampa Bay takes care of business. They're a pretty darn good baseball team. The Reds are a good baseball team. They're 16-9 coming home. They have a day off tomorrow, and we can all rejoice in that, knowing that the Reds had a 5-1 road trip. And that will go ahead and wrap up today's edition of the Postcast. The Reds are losers to the Tampa Bay Rays, 6-1. The Rays have 6 runs on 9 hits and 0 errors. The Reds have 1 run on 5 hits and 1 error. Nick Martinez is your winner, getting his first one of the year. Brandon Williamson takes his second loss of the year. He is now 2-2. The Reds are off tomorrow, and they come home for City Connect weekend on Friday as Andrew Abbott takes the hill for the Reds. Obviously looking to get things back going. He's 0-2 with a 5.84 ERA. He'll be going against Framber Valdez, who's off to a really good start in his first season with the Tigers. First pitch is at 6:40, so you'll see me probably about 9:30 or so. Everyone, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I am Tim Daniel. Have a great week. Have a great day off tomorrow, and I will see you on Friday.